So we just heard "We the People," which was the preamble of the Constitution. But what is the Constitution? It's the law or set of rules that we live by here in the United States. It belongs to me and to you, to all of us, to all Americans. The Constitution says how the government works. It creates the presidency, the Congress, it creates the Supreme Court. The Constitution lists some of our key rights. Rights are things that all people have just because they are alive. By listing the rights, they are made special. They are made safe. The Bill of Rights is part of the Constitution. The Bill of Rights lists many of the rights of all the people. The Constitution was written in 1787 because the original set of rules that the government had, called the Articles of Confederation, they just weren't working. They were created in a way to create a governmental system in which the power was distributed or divided among all of the states. And it really didn't have a strong central government that was able to solve problems that occurred between the states or when a bigger country or something came in to bother the states. It was like all of the little families working separately instead of having one big family. And without a strong government, we experienced many difficulties as a new country. So a bunch of men from all over the colonies, or all over the states, I should say, got together and met in Philadelphia at a place called Independence Hall. It was a hot summer day, and they had lots of arguments about how this new government should be created. And in the end, they agreed to the words in the Constitution. They had to make compromises, but they knew that they had to agree, because if they didn't, the fighting would keep going on how they were going to make this new government work. After they wrote the Constitution, they had to ask the states to approve it. 9 out of the 13 states had to agree to the Constitution for it to become the law, become the Constitution and the rules that we follow. It took some time, but eventually all of those 9 states finally did approve the Constitution. New Hampshire was actually the 9th state to ratify or agree to the Constitution. New Hampshire was the state that actually made the Constitution law. Some people did not like the Constitution. Some were afraid because it did not have enough things listed in it. It did not protect the rights of the people enough. It didn't have a list or a Bill of Rights. So promises were made to add a Bill of Rights to the end of the Constitution. After the Constitution passed, the Bill of Rights was added. And the Bill of Rights is the first 10 changes that were made to the Constitution. The Constitution is not perfect. When it was written, the men who wrote the Constitution knew that it would need to be changed over time. It would need to have improvements as we found out what things worked or didn't work. And as time goes by, things change. Different things happen. And some of the things that were added in the past might not be relevant anymore, or might not make sense anymore. Or some things that are happening now didn't exist back then, and it wasn't anything that the framers or the men who wrote it could have thought about. So these changes that are able to be made to the Constitution are called amendments. And many amendments, 18 have been made actually, to the Constitution. It's not easy to make amendments. There takes a lot of compromise and a lot of agreement by various parties in the government, but they can happen. And that's one of the things that makes our Constitution great, is that it has the ability to kind of change and grow with us as our country grows and changes. Without the Constitution, our country wouldn't be the same. We probably wouldn't be here the way we are today. This Constitution is a very important piece of paper, and one that took lots of compromise and great thought to create.